I spent the last 30 years as a professional singer in the entertainment industry, working on TV shows, films, and records with some of the biggest names in music. And one thing I've learned in that time is this: the things that light you up, especially the things from your childhood, are often clues to your destiny. I'm Tim Davis, and in this video, I'm going to show you how your earliest desires may not have been random as you thought. They might have been actually planted in you. By the end of this video, you'll see how what fascinated you as a kid can actually point the way to your calling as an adult. I grew up in the 70s and 80s listening to amazing vocal groups like Earth, Wind & Fire, Electric Light Orchestra, Queen, the Bee Gees, and something all Americans listened to was American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. My family was musical. We all played instruments in the band, but I didn't actually start singing until I was in college. When I was a kid, every Saturday morning I'd tune in to American Top 40. Casey Kasem would count down the hits in the nation, and I loved it, but not for the reason most people did. Sure, I liked the songs, but what really grabbed me were those jingles. 5-second vocal harmonies that sang American Top 40 and then counted down the numbers, number 39, before each new song. Those singers, the harmonies, the precision, something about it lit me up inside. I didn't really think there was anything particularly unique about that. For all I knew, everyone felt the same way. But it wasn't until years later that I realized how odd that was, especially since I wasn't even a singer at the time. Back then, almost all radio jingles came out of Dallas, from companies like Jam Creative Productions, TM Century, and PAMS. They were the sound of radio. It was 5 or 7 singers, super tight harmony, all trained a cappella pros. But by the 1990s, that sound had gotten old. Radio was changing, and the industry wanted a new sound. That's when I got a call from a friend of mine, Eric Huber, in Seattle. He was starting a new jingle company called ReelWorld Productions, and he wanted to compete with the Dallas guys. So he asked me, if you were to put together a group of singers to do it differently, how would you do it? And I said, I'd do a smaller group of singers, 2 or 3 at the most, and then stack their vocals like pop records do now. Well, we did it. And that became the sound that changed everything. Our very first package was Kiss 108 in Boston. Kiss 108 FM. And from that moment in 1995, ReelWorld became the global leader in radio ID jingles. In fact, I still sing for them today. A few years later in 1998, we showed up at the studio to record more ReelWorld jingles. When I opened the session, my heart jumped. We were recording the new American Top 40 jingles.
American Top 40, number 13.
As I sang the theme and all the different numbers into the mic, I had a surreal moment. I saw myself at 8 years old, sitting by the radio, listening to those same harmonies that stirred something deep inside me long ago. And I realized, wow, this love for these things has been in me since I was a kid. What I once thought was random wasn't really random at all. God planted this desire inside of me, and He already saw me 20 years later singing those very jingles at that studio in Nashville before I could even sing. Here's the deal. God puts desires in all of us, curiosities and loves that if we pay attention to them, they lead us toward our destiny. Sometimes what drew you in as a child is a clue to what you're meant to do as an adult. Maybe you're like me. You had moments like that about singing. You would watch a movie or hear a background vocal that stopped you in your tracks, but you dismissed it as random or unimportant. Or maybe you didn't pay attention to it. Maybe you did, but someone told you it wasn't realistic, that you needed a plan B. Maybe they talked you out of it. Well, as someone who didn't even start singing until college, I want to propose something to you. Maybe the lack of fulfillment in your life is because you've denied the very thing that was planted in you before you were born, and maybe it's time to bring that dream back to life. Go back and remember what made you come alive. Because like me, your desires, especially the ones you've carried with you since childhood, could hold the keys to your destiny. If this spoke to you, take a few minutes today to think about what used to light you up. Write it down and ask yourself the question, was a seed planted in me long ago that's still waiting to come to life? Because your buried dream might just be the roadmap to your calling.